Most people might be thinking, I'm already aware of self, I know who I am. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't know what it is to be black and to be who you are amongst a sea of nothing but black people. You just a person. I'm not a black woman. I might be an American woman, but if I don't open my mouth, nobody's gonna know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really Nigerian. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's a freedom. It's a
Oh,
type of peace that you feel that you are just you. I tell some people you get to be the African and the African American because I like my life here. It's simpler, it's more peaceful, it's more calmer. It's not a rat race that you have to be doing and so many other things. The way of life is just, I've gotten used to it and I love it. Everybody's experience is going to be different on an individual basis. So
yes.
I can give you basics of things that you can do, but in general, it's really going to be on your mindset and the attitude that you have. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be patient to live in developing countries. A lot of times, how your African story really is going to depend on you as an individual. It's like Nigeria, the main reason why most people come here, and I tell people, and they laugh every time, is they come here for the men. Coming here, I did not. My brother had his DNA tested, and it showed that a large percentage of our DNA is Nigerian. So I found that out
Oh,
probably a few months before coming here that Nigeria is probably my ancestral home.
right.
But just when you come to the continent, you have to live as Africans do.
Denise, thank you very much for agreeing to be on the channel. I watch you online on other sisters' interviews, and I've been on your social media a little bit. You don't have a big presence on social media, by the way. You're not out there.
Most of the stuff that you do see is something that my husband has posted and he's tagged me
Oh,
on my
really?
timeline.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
Uh-huh.
nothing wrong with that.
Every
It's
once in a while I'll post something.
yeah. But thank you. I know you're not on social media, but I'm so happy that you agreed to have that interview because I watched you online talking about your experience in Nigeria, and you are an African American sister, and I was like, wow, you talk with so much positivity about your experience there. And often, what I hear about Nigeria is not so much the case. And I'm myself never been to Nigeria and I do want to visit Nigeria. Before we start on this, can you introduce yourself, please, to our audience so they get to know you?
So I'm Denise Dixon-George. I am American that moved to Nigeria. I live here with my husband. And I've been here probably just over 4 years. And
Over
I
four
love living here.
years. Wow. Yes, you've
Hmm.
said that often, and I love that. So, what brought you to Nigeria? I mean, before Nigeria, have you visited Africa? Was Africa a place that you wanted to visit, to know, to live in? Or how did you end up in Nigeria, sis?
As a child, Africa is a country that was a continent that I wanted to visit as a child. You've seen it, but it was never something that I really put in the effort to do. I had been in the military prior, so you do get around a little bit. I lived out of the country once, and that was in Cuba. But before I met my husband, I made a decision that I wanted to move abroad. And at the time, I was looking more at a Spanish country because I'm more familiar with Spanish. But
Yeah.
lo and behold, I met my husband, and the pandemic happened. And when that happened, I was like, "Ooh, okay, well, since everything's closed down, we don't know how everything's going to go. I want to be where you are so that nothing happens where we can't be with each other because we didn't know how the pandemic was going to go at that time frame.
Yeah.
So he made the arrangements and I moved over here. So I never traveled to Africa to the continent at all, any country. That was my first time coming.
Wow. So the first country that you visited in Africa was Nigeria. So how was your
Nigeria.
adaptation when you came to Nigeria from the US? Did you visit or did you directly fly from the US to Nigeria and you stayed in Nigeria?
It was I directly flew into Nigeria and I stayed.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. So what was your first impression when you arrived in Nigeria? And Nigeria has like 200 and almost 30 millions of people. Like it's the biggest I think population wise in Africa,
Hmm.
right?
It
So
is.
how did you feel when you arrived in Nigeria? Was it what you expected of Africa?
I would say my expectation of Africa was different coming because I you seasoned and more experienced because you see now is not what they show on television when I was little. So you know that their cities, people have vehicles and they live in houses and they have refrigerators and different things just like you do in the United States.
Yeah,
So my expectation, I didn't have any particular expectations of it. I did do some research with YouTubers online to get an idea of the culture and how everything was. And for the information that I saw, I was like, okay, well, I can do that. That's not a, I can do that. Not a big deal. I knew that it wouldn't be consistent electricity. Sometimes you might have issues with water. Um,
yeah,
I like that it's hot all year round. I don't like the cold, so it was
yeah,
warm all year round. I can live with that. So the weather was
yeah,
going to be good, and the cost of living would be less.
yeah. Exactly. And how did the family react? Because even for I'm from Gabon, Central Africa French speaking country. And I've lived my entire life almost in Europe. And even when I
Hmm.
decided to go back to Africa, but to my husband country in Cameroon, my family was concerned simply because they sent you to Europe to have a better life. You come back with struggling here, the chaos, maybe that you won't be able to manage. So for you who have, who is African American and have lived in America, I assume, I mean, as a military, did you have to travel a lot?
Got stationed in different places. Most of the time, it was within the U.S. It was only once, but it was abroad.
Okay.
But when you being in the military, it's like culture shock or adapting to stuff. You have to adapt to things quick because you're gonna go from one place to a new place. You have a
Mm.
new job.
So the first country that you visited in Africa was Nigeria. So how was your
Nigeria.
adaptation when you came to Nigeria from the US? Did you visit or did you directly fly from the US to Nigeria and you stayed in Nigeria?
It was I directly flew into Nigeria and I stayed. You just got to get on to everything quickly. So that made it easier. Plus, my father was prior military too. We moved a lot, and then some people aren't prepared for the drastic change in lifestyle and culture. Some people might come there and they thinking because the cost of living is less that they can live larger than they did in America, and they really threw their money like this.
Yeah.
It's gone. You're not
Yeah.
budgeting. When you come to the continent, you have to live as Africans do, and depending on your status, you may not have to live like the average African. You might could live like a more upper middle class African or a richer African, but you can't live on the level of you being an American because you breeze through your money quickly. So I think lack of preparation is what most people have. They don't come to visit first
Mm-hmm.
and do a long visit. So anytime ladies contact me about moving here, and most people come just to visit when they visit their husband and meet them and get married, stay for maybe a week or two, and then they go back. I said to get a feel for living here, visiting the continent is not the same as living. It's
Exactly.
like apple and oranges. So if you can come to stay, come and stay for at least a month if you can. 90 days, 60 and 90 days give you an idea of, well, okay, I can do this, or you be like, no, this is not for me. I don't recommend somebody to just come and just stay
Yeah.
because that's not something that everybody can do,
Yeah. So
right?
I
So,
love what you said, Denise, because you said even for us, our experience that I went back to Cameroon and I wanted to live with the standard that I have in Europe, I try to
mhm,
have that you burn your money very quickly and you
yes,
really have to adapt to the way the local lives. And as you say, maybe not go as in a mid-range, right? You still need to be comfortable, but if you need, and it's better for you anyway if you adapt to the African ways,
Yes.
because you'll have a better experience, learning about the culture, learning about how to deal with power cut, with water supply missing, all these things, internet being, you just have to adapt and accept that your pace of life is going to be slower.
Yes. It's going to be slower, and a lot of times that's part of the reason why a lot of people leave, because that's part of the reason why I always wanted to move abroad. I'm tired of the rat race. You get
Yeah,
up, you go to work, you come back home. You get up, you go to work, you come back home.
yeah,
Every once in a while, you might get a chance to do some things, but it's like you really making money just to live, not to really do a whole bunch of other stuff.
yeah,
But I think once they see that slow pace, then some people might be like, "Oh, okay, I can't get used to this, or I can't get used to it." It's just it's an adjustment, and it really depends on the type of person that you are, that you easily to adjust. Because
yeah,
some people come with they do this different here. In America, we do this. In America, we do that, and I'd be like, or if we live in the UK, that's how we do stuff, and it doesn't make a difference.
yeah,
Nigeria is this is it.
yeah,
Nobody's changing anything for you. We've been
yeah,
doing it like this for decades and
yeah,
hundreds of years. We're
yeah,
not changing anything for you. So it's
exactly.
like I tell people when they say when in Rome, you live as the Romans do. When you are in Africa, you live as the Africans do because it will cut down on your stress.
Denise, I love what you're sharing, but I do think that you are unique simply because I've listened to a lot of stories. A lot of African American or just, Black people from the diaspora, when they decide to move back to the homeland, they will go to places like South Africa, you know, easy entry level to Africa. Because if you are in South Africa, you may as well be in New York. If you are in Johannesburg, it's not very different, right? It's
Hmm.
westernized a lot. When you live in Nigeria, you really tested the true, Africa, because it's raw as Africa can get. What would you advise for those sisters that want to come, apart from the preparation, to make sure that they do their homework before coming and they change their mindset? Those sisters that are angry at Africa for not opening their arms, and they come and it's not what they expected. They feel rejected, they feel uh, treated like foreigner, they feel that Africa is not what the dream.
We get caught up in the nostalgia
Okay.
of finding out where doing DNS tests, find out where you are, and then how they glamorize some things in certain countries about coming to Africa and things. Like Ghana did the year of return in 2019.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's beneficial. So a lot of people then moving to Ghana. The tourism is set up for that. But when you go to other countries, it's like Nigeria. The main reason why most people come here, and I tell people, and they laugh every time, is they come here for the men. That's what
Okay.
most people come to Nigeria
Really?
for.
That's
So
something
Nigeria,
that I heard, and I never heard that before. I heard you say that before.
they are, and it's you have other foreigners from other countries that are coming. Like there are a lot of Lebanese people here, Chinese people are here, people from India, Pakistan are here. Um, you'll have white people from other countries that are here too that come, and they have businesses and things. But most of the time, as another person that may be perhaps from the diaspora moving here, Nigeria is not always the number one choice. Most
Yes.
people, if they're coming to Nigeria for specifics, either if they met people here and that's why they're coming,
Right.
or some people are coming in because they want to just be able to be with their husbands until the immigration process is complete and they can all live together in America or whatever country that they're from, Western and from. But the thing that I look at is the nostalgia of if you're black, of what Africa means to you because of slavery,
Yeah.
going through civil rights and different things, and you come here and your experience may not be positive. A lot of times, how your African story really is going to depend on you as an individual. My
Mm-hmm.
experience may not be the same experience as somebody else or the same experience as you. It may not be the same experience whether I'm Afro Latino, if I or I'm a light skinned black person, dark skinned black person, a black person from the Caribbean, West Indian, or a black person from another African country. Everybody's experience is going to be different on an individual basis. So
Yes.
I can give you basics of things that you can do, but in general, it's really going to be on your mindset and the attitude that you have. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be patient to live in developing countries
Yeah.
because it's not. We got the internet here. You could have cable television. I got a you any type of gadget that you want to have, we have. You can do. I can pretty much do the same thing to a certain degree in Nigeria that I can do in America. I may have to do some things a little different
Yeah.
to be able to do those things, but that's the issue right there. Some people don't have patience
Yeah.
for things. Some people are frustrated. You still trying to compare how your life is in America and how you want it to be in on the continent. It's not going to be the same at all. It's going to be different. Whether you have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, you're going to face some of the same similar frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to be adaptable. You have to be patient. You have to be open-minded to be
Mm-hmm.
able to and willing to learn and observe to get an idea of the culture, how people interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Americans, we get on the defense easily. People are very, very friendly and family oriented in Nigeria and probably maybe in other African countries
Yeah.
too. I haven't been to the other ones. So
Yeah.
it's like people will walk up to you and greet you and stuff, or they talking to you, and it's like for at first it takes you back a little bit because you kind of like Americans. You don't want any people in your
In your
immediate
face.
space,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because you don't know what that person's gonna do. But
Yeah.
you have to
Oh,
release your
yeah.
guard a little bit.
Yeah.
You guard it a little bit more because people you got to deal with crime. Can't nobody walk up on you too easily. Somebody might try to rob you. Somebody might try to do anything to you. You
Yeah.
don't you don't know. You don't understand. So it's different nuances that you'll have to get used to. So I tell people if you're coming, you got to come with an open mind. Nobody can say, look, let me come here and I can show them how to do this and we need to do this, that, the other. Baby, Nigeria not gonna do no changes for you
I
at
love.
all.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
I love
That
that.
is it.
This is yes. This
So
is
you just
very
have
true.
to
Yeah.
deal with it. So
Yeah.
patience is the biggest thing, and open-mindedness.
Open
Be
mind.
willing to learn how to do things that you normally do different, and not let it frustrate you.
Excellent. Excellent. Denise, there's something that I want to ask you because, as you said, when you did your ancestry tracing, like, the majority were from Nigeria, right? Being in
Yes.
Nigeria, because a lot of what I've heard from African American, tell me if I'm wrong, want to know the roots, where the ancestry came from. You being in Nigeria and the majority of your ancestry were from there, did that change like your sense of identity somehow, to be there in Africa? Because I've heard so many story of the way African American are treated almost like a second class citizen in their own country. You are not free just to be and live. You have to work so hard just to exist. And so a lot of people from the diaspora, when they come to Africa, is to find that peace to just be, because in Africa, you're all black. Like, I mean,
Yes.
even your blackness doesn't even exist. Like, you don't identify
Right.
as black because everybody is black, even if they're white people and also race there. But essentially, the continent is black. So did that change something to you? Did it brought some sense of identity or free you from, I don't know, any past trauma uh, with the way African American are treated in the US?
I would say. Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I would say no that I knew coming here it would be different to live in an all black space
Okay.
because I haven't lived in an all black space
Mm-hmm.
in probably decades. Most because I've lived in mixed spaces where it's people from all over the place, and I always like to see a collection of different people. But to come here, that I would say yes is that you learn to be, you get to become the authentic version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Most people might be thinking, I'm already aware of self, I know who I am. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't know what it is to be black and to be who you are amongst a sea of nothing but black people. You just a person. I'm not a black woman. I might be an American woman, but if I don't open my mouth, nobody's gonna know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really Nigerian. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? So you get it's a it's a freedom. It's a type
Mm.
of peace that you feel that you are just you.
Wow.
I
Okay.
get to figure out that I tell some people you get to be the African and the African American, but I think it's more so you just be you. I'm able to be me, and maybe I'm a me
Right.
that I didn't know that I was. And it's taking me some time. Sometimes I use the terminology. I feel like I'm sleepwalking because the first year, 6 months to a year, it's like I cannot believe I live in Africa. I can't believe that I'm married to my husband. This is so crazy,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like you doing this, so it's like I'm aware of things that's going on, and it's like I'm moving and going through life, but it's like it's I still don't feel like I'm fully engaged because it seems
Yeah.
so real that
Yeah.
you're doing this because it's totally different. But I recognize that I do love living here. That even when I visit America, I'm technically kind of between both countries, but I spend the large majority of the time in on the continent. I do go home to America once a year, and I stay for a few months to see my family, do any type of appointments I have to do, anything I have to do while I'm over there. But
Yeah.
while I'm there, even my first year when I went back to visit, I recognized I want to go home. I'm like, okay,
Oh
home is
wow. Yeah.
Nigeria for me
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I think this last time when I visited last year, and I was there longer than I wanted to be, but circumstances happened. I had to be in the States longer. And I was like, I don't belong here. Even though I have family there, I don't feel the connection anymore,
Really?
which is weird. I I
Oh.
said I feel
What's
no
this?
connection. I don't know what it is that
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here at
Wow.
all. And
Yeah.
that's how I kept feeling mentally. And I'm not, when I was around my kids and I was seeing my grandchildren, I'm seeing my sister, my brother, aunts, uncles, my parents and stuff, and I was like, no, I'm not supposed to be here at
Yeah.
all. So, and I know, and I don't know if his home is literally where your heart is because my husband is still here. I don't know
Yeah.
if it ever happened that he moved with me, but it's like even if I considered us going to America, I'm like, oh, I kind of don't want to do that because I like my life here. It's simpler, it's more peaceful, it's more calmer. It's not a rat race that you have to be doing, and so many other things. The way of life is just I've gotten used to it, and I love it and I don't want to have to change it. And I know if we ever go to America, it will change. It won't necessarily be the same way here as it would be there because you got to be in a
Wow.
whole different mindset.
I love that for you. You know that I spoke to a Nigerian lady who lived in America for a few years. I think she stayed 6 years in America. And she told me something that took me off guard because she was telling me that she felt safer in Nigeria than in the US. And this is why that conversation with you for me was important. Too many people don't know Nigeria. I think Nigeria has a very bad rap of, even in when you talk about Nigeria, you want to visit to Nigeria, people will tell you no, go to Ghana, but
Hmm.
not Nigeria. And for me, when she told me that, I was like, wow. She's told me she felt safer living in Nigeria. She can walk at 2 a.m. But in America, she were always looking behind her back, always afraid. Like she was explaining to me, like if there's somewhere and there's the police, all black people, wherever they come from, would just run off. Like, if they were like in a nightclub and like a fight happened. She said
Mm-hmm.
the police will come and will just assume it's the black people. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody, I'm like, that's not a way of living. Is this something that you can you tell me about that? Do you feel safer living in Nigeria than in the US?
Yes, I do. I feel much safer living here. It are all countries are going to have some type of crime or different things. Some people may have more crimes than others. If I'm in America now, I could go to a supermarket and I don't know that that day somebody decide they're going to come into the supermarket and kill everybody. You see what I
Wow.
mean? I just went to the supermarket just to buy
Yeah.
eggs and some bread and milk, and I'm coming right back. But somebody decide that day they're gonna walk in this particular supermarket, and you're gonna start open fire on people in there. You see that this thing is just small things like that that I got to be more conscious of when I go to the states because though it can it's not like it's happening every month or something like that, but it is a crime that is happening a lot more now than it
Mm.
did in the past. Then I know that I got to be cautious if I'm out at night in America. If I'm out by myself as a woman, if I'm with a group of people, cautious of. I don't feel as uncomfortable as like if I'm stopped by the police or something. But nighttime you do have to you got to be looking on your shoulder. I'm not gonna be out walking 2 o'clock in the morning somewhere
Okay.
at
Okay.
all because anything could happen to me in America. Here, it's like most of the time when I'm going out anyway, I'm out with my husband, but it's like I have walked around in my neighborhood alone. I've walked to the outdoor markets by myself alone. I don't worry about anybody trying to rob me. It takes time for your mind to click, to let guard the guard, to
Ye-
relax
Yeah.
coming here because as an American and as a woman in general, even as a black woman, you
Yes.
always got to be on guard.
Yeah.
So it takes time to flip your mind off that it's like, okay, I remember one time I saw a guy and he was just running here. And the first thing I thought in my mind, he shouldn't be running. He need to be cautious because if the police see him running, they're gonna think he did something. And they'll
Oh.
stop him. I feel like, girl, you're not in America. He can run as
Yeah.
free as he wants to.
Yes.
You see what
Yes.
I mean? So
Yeah. It
it's
takes.
a different mindset that you have to have. That you have to. It takes time to unlearn it.
Yeah.
To turn, I would say not necessarily unlearn it, but turn it off. Because when I go to visit America, I have to turn it right back on. I can't get
Okay.
relaxed like I am here because I know to a certain degree I got to be on guard, depending on where it is that I am, where I'm going to, and things like that. So I do feel much safer here in Nigeria than I
Yeah.
do
Denise,
in
that's
America, and
crazy.
that
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's a bad neighborhood or it could be a nice neighborhood. In
Yeah.
America, somebody decide they just want to open randomly, start shooting people. It
Wow.
happens.
Yeah. The more I hear it, because since we have YouTube videos online, for people like us in Europe, I'm black, there's racism, but I never fear for my life. Like somebody will shoot at me just randomly. It does happen some crime here and there, but you don't fear for your life. I can go out at any time. I'm not worried about somebody, shooting at me. Or so the
Yeah.
experience of being black and living in, or just living in America, is something that I understand what so many people are living. I live in the country. I see a lot of women leaving America to find a better life elsewhere, in other countries.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, what is the things in living in Nigeria that took time for you to adapt to in your day-to-day life? Wh-
Um, People don't eat out as much here.
Oh, okay.
Eating out is very popular in America because people don't like to cook. I don't like to cook. I don't like to cook.
Yeah,
and, and once you know you've been an empty nester and it's just you, I don't
I
have
know,
to
I know, I know. Yeah,
do
yeah,
a whole bunch. You see what I
yeah.
mean? So that got used to, and people make food. I guess what they would call it, meal prepping is what they call it in America. Here they make make one big part of their soup type of dish, and they put it in little things and leftovers. I don't like they don't like leftovers. I had to get used to eating leftovers. Getting eating the leftovers here because that's what they do. And people don't waste things. You're not
Yes,
gonna waste anything like
yeah,
we do in more Western countries. You waste food and things like
I
that.
know. Yeah,
Um, I think culturally, the biggest thing for me was there's a class distinction,
mm-hmm.
classism, I guess you can say, that is different. Some tribal stuff, not as much, but if you consider yourself upper class and lower class people interact with you a little bit differently, um, and you have to interact with them differently. I had to get still adapting to that to a certain degree.
Yeah,
Um, Finding trying to get to know people and get genuine friendships can be a little bit of a challenge
tricky.
to
Yeah,
a certain degree too.
yeah,
So it's I think that's probably the biggest thing. Me, I'm slightly introverted too, and my husband and I are best friends with each other. So I'm pretty
yeah,
much I feel like, okay, well I'm good.
yeah.
So but
So,
I do interact with other Nigerian people, and I'm still trying to work on learning the different languages. I understand Pidgin English, but I need to work on Yoruba because Yoruba is really highly spoken in Lagos.
yeah,
So I need to know if when people are talking, I catch maybe a couple. I can say greeting, and
yeah.
that's about it. But it's like you carrying the conversation. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. I
Oh,
can't even figure it out.
I've been married for how long? Almost 30 years, and I still don't know my husband language. And when I live there, so I'm trying to learn as well. And when people are talking now, I can kind of get the sense of what they're talking about. But I want to learn to be able to be because they love talking in their language. They don't like using
Yes.
French or English or you know. So it's
Now, see,
nice.
now Yoruba is not even my husband's native language because he's from a
Oh,
different tribe. But
okay.
Yoruba is highly spoken in Lagos, so you're
Okay.
going to hear that a lot in interactions. So most people can speak in pidgin, um, or some will speak English, but you're going to hear Yoruba a lot. So there's certain areas I may be in. That's all those people know is Yoruba. They don't know English,
Yeah.
so I have to. I want to learn it so that way at least I can engage in conversation. Because I said if something happened to my husband, I said how am I manage getting about and going about in Nigeria? I need to be able to know the language, know what people are saying, and understanding and things like that. So I'm working on. I need to work harder at it, but I'm working
It
on it.
yeah, those languages aren't easy to learn, but it's true that if you
No,
can know the basics, I'm still working on mine as well. So
and there's very few places that will have like Duolingo is not going to have an African language. I
no,
think the most you might
no,
see is Swahili.
Swahili is the
And I'm
only
like,
one that
not everybody in Africa speaks Swahili. Come on
no,
now.
no, and no. So, but did you manage like to make friend? I know for me what I did at some point because what you were saying is when you come from the West to Africa, even as an African born, because I was born in Africa, my mentality and my culture is so different to
Hmm.
to have real friendship, like sitting at a table and having a conversation at same level that you understand each other is very difficult. So often what I would do is I have friends coming from the diaspora because we do understand each other. I do have friends that are local, but the relationship is not always it's tricky. It's tricky because when you come from abroad, there's a way you are viewed that
Yes,
that falls a little bit the relationship between you guys.
yes.
And so by being with other expat or other people from the diaspora who came back home, it's easy because we have the same challenge, we have the same understanding, and we almost at the same footing. Like if you go to the restaurant, everybody pay their part. You know, you're not
Yes,
expected to pay for everyone
for
else.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yes,
you see what I'm talking about.
yes.
So yeah. And so to come back a little bit to your marriage, did you do the proper traditional? Because I see Nigerian wedding on television, and they are huge with the craft, the hard. Did you do a traditional wedding in Nigeria?
No, we got married at the height of the pandemic, when everything just opened up. So I
Oh,
got married January 2021. So we just went to the registry and called it a day because not the Nigerian weddings is like you might want to say you only want to invite 100 people.
yeah. You end up with
People, you them 100 people gonna tell all these other people,
yes,
and you gonna end up with 600 people for your wedding.
yes. That's
I'm not
African
feeding.
wedding.
I'm not gonna feed 600 people.
Yeah,
You see what I mean? I was
yeah.
like, my husband was like, he's like, okay, he's a popular person, and a lot of people would know him. So he was like, you could get to up to 800 people could show up, and I just was like, I said, these people are not gonna, they can't come if I don't tell them, if they don't know where they supposed to be going. He said, you can't stop that.
No,
And
you
I was
can't.
like, we doing the registry. And I think in Nigeria at the time, you could only have a certain number of people anyway if you were able to do any traditional marriages or anything like that. So we just went to the registry. I wore native attire, and he wore native attire, and we called it a day.
That's good. I mean, you've been
And
saved
that
by
was it.
the pandemic because African weddings are crazy and extremely
Yes.
expensive. We had to do one in Gabon and in Cameroon. It took us years to recover financially
Mhm.
because you can't plan. Like in the village, we had so many people, you don't know where they come from. You know, you end
Mhm.
up with hundreds of people there at your wedding. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no,
And
no,
I
I
was like, I don't know any of these people at
yeah,
all. So it's like you got all these people speaking to you, and I'd be like, okay, this is overwhelming. It's a lot of people for an introverted person. I'm like, this is a lot of energy
it is. I know.
all at
Oh my
once.
goodness, it's draining.
I've only been here for a few days, and you got
Yeah,
500 people greeting you, and they happen to see you because they know him. I don't know you.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I know.
I just was like, this is. So I was like, no, it was just. We went to the registry. My mother and father-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws was there, and then afterwards we went to a restaurant for lunch, and some friends that I knew that were American, and they were here visiting their husbands. They came, and that was it. We called it a day. I went back to my apartment that we had and everything, and that was that. Not till our 1 year anniversary. That's when we had like a anniversary party, and we invited a lot of people from our congregation and some of our neighbors and stuff. So that was like a reception for me that I
Yeah,
had. And by then, I knew people. So
yeah,
it's like, okay, you can have people. I don't mind feeding people if you need helping, but it's nicer to feed people that you know than to
yeah,
be feeding a whole bunch of people that you have no idea who these people are.
yeah.
And I'll be like, well, you know them? I don't know them either. I'm like, well, yeah, they just coming to eat.
Yes.
They coming to chop
Oh,
like,
I know. You know, one time at a wedding in Cameroon, we had a party and all, and so the gates were open. We saw people coming because the party was outside and the tents and all of
mhm,
that. Some people with like very well dressed came in the house and all, and we saw people, but because you don't know there's so many people, and we
yes,
have neighbors that were never invited to the wedding because the door were open. A lot of people just came and they wanted to see inside the house, so they came in the
mhm,
house, and we like, do you know that person? Because uh, customer, I mean, the people that were invited were not allowed to be in the house. The party was outside. So, but we thought it
yes,
was somebody maybe from the family or anything. You have to be super, not careful, but
yeah.
there's
We
something to
had
be aware.
security for our
Yes,
anniversary party, so it was like, mm-mm.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
not coming in here.
Yes, it's that. Yes, that's how Africa goes. When it comes for party, they know how to party,
Yes,
and they
it
will
was
invite themselves, and there's
it
nothing
was
that.
nice to do it. So I was like, okay, we had a good time. We had it on the beach, so it was like a reception for us for the first year, so our 1 year anniversary. So that was, I think I wouldn't have done it if I had to do it over again. I would have still done it the same way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, how about your family? Do your family? You spoke about you have kids that are grown up now, and
Yes,
do your family visit you, or do they plan to come
not
and
yet,
see where you are
not yet,
in the area?
not yet. They want to come visit, but not yet. They haven't come yet.
Okay. Okay.
So far, I haven't had any visitors. I've had people that threaten that they're gonna come visit, and I'm like, okay.
Okay. I'm telling you, I will come and visit. We're friends now. We've been chatting together. I'll come and visit.
Come visit. Now I've had friends that they might be coming to see their husbands or
Yeah.
meeting their beau for the first time, and because they've contacted me or other ladies that I've just met online and they contact me and they will come, they will stop to visit me. I'll invite them for we meet up somewhere or lunch or something like that, and they'll come to visit. I've had that. But as
Yeah.
far as like my family members or people I know close personal that we interacted with each other in person before in America, no, not yet.
Okay, not yet. So, how do the family seeing you that decision to live in Africa and marry in Africa? Do the family take it well? I don't know if you still have your parents around and your kids. How's the family, friends are taking, took the news?
Everybody, everybody took it well. First, I didn't let a lot of people know
Okay.
at first.
Yeah.
So some people didn't find out I was getting married until I posted my wedding pictures on
Oh,
Facebook.
wow.
That's how
Okay.
they knew I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
Then some people, some close friends that I had, I didn't discuss the matter with them. I didn't tell them about me dating my husband or moving to Nigeria or getting married until the day or 2 days before my wedding. And that's because what I did was I created a Facebook group for just people I wanted to come to the wedding because I went live within the Facebook group to be able to have it at the time because I didn't do Zoom. So because I wanted to invite them to that group, I had to discuss divulge that. So one of my friends, she just was like, call me. She's Spanish. She was like, ahora. I said, girl, I can't. Yes. Most people, my kids knew, my siblings knew, my parents knew about my husband and that I was dating, but I really didn't divulge as of yet. My mother's dead. I have a stepmother and my father. That I was moving. My brother let it slip to my dad a few days before I was going to fly out. And so I had to call him, and he was salty because he's thinking it's a pandemic. You going to a whole different country. You don't know anybody. You don't know this person. All of this stuff, and telling me that I'm not going, that I can't go, and I'm seasoned, Jazz. I'm seasoned, so I'm a little bit above you telling me what I can and can't do now,
Yeah. Yeah. All
even
right.
though you're
Yeah.
my dad.
Yes.
I didn't sass him. I didn't sass him. I let him say what he had to say, and he was like, "So you just gonna go whether it bothers me or not?" I said, "Yes, that is, I am." He got mad here on the phone. Click up.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, "That'll be all right." I
Okay.
finished packing my stuff. I slept good and flew out. Now he wants to come visit. Well, you look
That's
like you're happy. You think I
yeah.
can come over there? Sure, Daddy, you come over here. You come, Daddy, if you want to.
Yeah, that's nice. So now that he
So,
adjusted and see you happy, and okay.
hmm it
So
took him a few months. He attended my wedding online. He was salty, but he got over it after about before the month was over. The month was
yeah,
over with. He stopped being salty,
yeah. Was it love at first sight?
so it
Because
worked
you
out.
you look happy, and every time I heard you talking about your husband on the interview, you sounded just like a very happy wife, and you
I
seem to have
am.
a beautiful relationship with your husband. For what I heard, he treated you like a queen. And is this
Yes.
something that surprised you about Nigerian men or African men? And earlier you said something about women going to Nigeria. What's about Nigerian men? I need to know. Tell me. I have sisters that are single. What is it with Nigerian?
I knew somebody that asked me a few days ago to help him find somebody, and I was like, I don't really do matchmaking, and all the women that I know are already married. So, um, it's a difference in there's a difference in being married to somebody on the continent because he grew up African. You see what I mean? An
Hmm.
African American man has to grow up under different circumstances because he's had to deal with some form of oppression some point in time in his life. He may have had to deal with racial prejudice at some point in time in his life. In other type of circumstances, depending on how he was raised, where he's from, or different things like that. If you come to the continent, and I can only really speak for Nigerian men, I know a few men from other African countries, they're not growing up with that same type of circumstance because they're growing up just African. So there's a certain confidence that they're going to have about themselves. It's
Hmm.
they're aware and sense of self of who they are. You know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
all Nigerian. The only think you might be tribe or class or something like that, but you all are all Nigerian. So their self esteem sometimes and self confidence to me could be a lot higher because they haven't been exposed to certain things that um, black men may or Latino men have been exposed to living in their country. So it's that. I tell people also, if you find the right partner, whether that person is in America or any place else, and you find true love, which is rare, it's phenomenal.
Yes.
To have it is really
Absolutely.
is phenomenal. And
Yeah.
it be so. And when I tell you it's phenomenal, it be unbelievable. You be like, wow, I can't believe that God has blessed me with this person. This can't be real, but it is. So it's like I know that not everybody has the same experience with their African husband or their
Yeah.
Nigerian husband that I am aware of. But that's my experience. So I can't grade a whole race of people or from a certain country or continent based
Hmm.
on an experience that somebody else had because that
Yeah.
was your experience. I don't know what was going on with you prior to you getting into this relationship at all.
Yeah.
So I can't say that that's how it's going to be. I know what it was for me and I was at the time and who my husband is and was at the time when we got together. So when you find true love, I tell anybody, regardless of where he's from, it's phenomenal. But it's some differences because African men are big on respect.
Yeah.
Uh, and I learned that early in the dating process that I'm like, okay, he don't like to be disrespected. Not that I was being disrespectful to him, but you can get that sense of it. Nigeria is I would say man-driven country. I guess
Hmm. Yeah.
you could say. Is paternal? Is that what they say? I think is the word. I don't know, but it's a man-driven country, so
Hmm. That's very cool. Yeah.
that can get it doesn't bother me because my husband is respectful to me of who I am, and I show him respect too because I love him. He's earned that from me, the deep respect, and because I know that it's scriptural for me also having the deep respect for my husband, and he earned that from me. He might not know that's what he was doing, but he did, and I was like, okay, he's worthy of me giving him my deep respect. I could do that with him.
Yeah. I
So
understand.
that was
I understand what you're saying because with my husband, we both grew up in France. We met in France. The marriage we have, the way we interact as husband and wife in Europe, in the UK, is completely different to the way we interact within Africa in Cameroon. There's an expectation of the
hmm
wife. There's a clear role of wives in Cameroon. to serve their husband and their brother's
Yes.
husband and to have that wifey role. So I know when I'm in Cameroon, I have to wear that hat because it's not that they
Yes.
disrespect their wife, but they do things that men should be doing for their wives, but they expect for the
Yes.
wife when the husband come to give him food, to serve him. The wife is at service for the husband, and it's something if you come to the west from the west that you need to adjust to. As long as your husband is respectful, respect you. There's some tradition and custom. Is that custom that you say?
Hmm.
There's some, yes, that you can't fight, as long as they respect who you are. It's part of the
Yeah.
culture that for the wife to be serving. Like, if they have their brothers coming, you be at the kitchen with the people, the help, you have a cook, but you need to be there to greet them and to host them. They expect that from you. So I know I'm also an introverted person. So it took a lot of
Yes.
me to host this family. And when they're gone, I'm like, I'm dead for days. Like, please don't bring anyone else. I need to lock the door and let me recharge before more people come. But you know that Africa people
Yeah.
sometimes don't call and they can just turn up. Mainly when you live in like a family compound. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
S-
for here. It's like I'm in America. I'm from a southern state, so I grew up a
Okay.
certain way where you're gonna be cooking and the wife is
Yeah.
fixes the husband plates and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
uh, that wasn't a big. That's not a big issue for me. You do most of the cooking anyway, girl. I don't do. I don't really do anything. I just try to be cute every day. That's it. Yeah, that's all I do. And it's not that I'm not lazy. It's just that I don't have to if I
Yeah.
don't want to. You
Yeah.
see, which I'm like I'm milking it as long as I can.
Yeah. No,
I'm gonna milk this for as
absolutely.
long as I can. I
Yeah.
wait a long time for this.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, uh, it's just it's not that difficult. For some people it can be, but it really just depends on who you are as a woman and as a person, as to how adaptable you are. I know
Yeah.
some ladies can be like, I'm not gonna put up with this and he can't treat me like this. And some men might try to treat you like a Nigerian woman and I'd be like, she's not Nigerian, honey. She's
Yeah.
not gonna you can't treat her the same way because she didn't grow up under the same circumstances.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and get it and take care of yourself, or if you have children, take care of children, or different things like that. So it's not going to be the same process. So, I mean, some ladies are adaptable to being in an international marriage, and then some ladies, they having a little bit of a struggle
Yeah. Yeah.
with it.
It
So
can
mine
be.
has been easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you and really wishing you long, lasting and loving marriage. So yeah.
Thank
So
you.
So Denise, we coming to almost the end, but I want to ask you a few more questions if you have time for me, as I want to take advantage of that internet that's so good right now. So
Yes.
what does your day to day life look like in Nigeria compared to when you were in the
Kind of
US?
boring.
Are you retired? Do you
I'm
call yourself
boring.
retired? You are?
I just started calling myself retired probably a few months ago. I'm like, am I retired? Maybe so. I think
Yeah.
so.
I'm
I
wishing
think
to be
so.
retired since like 3 years ago. I said I retire at 50. And now I said at 55. I'm Yeah, I can't. I have 2 more years. Then I don't want to work anymore.
So most of the time, day to day, I'm a boring person. I don't do a whole bunch. I like to go to the movies because I am a sci-fi nerd, and I'll watch. That's probably my favorite activity. Going to they call it the cinema. I say we going to the movies.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm home. I mean, I do some have my spiritual life, doing things with my congregation, but I'm a I'm a Barbie doll collector.
I've seen
So
it. I've
I
seen. I find your Instagram.
yes, so I have a I'm an amateur toy photographer
It's
is what I call myself now.
beautiful. I've seen those. I saw you
So
were selling them. Are you collecting them? Is it a business
no,
or
I
it's
just
just
feel it.
hobby?
It's not a business girl. It's just a hobby. It's something that I always did wanted to do, but I never had the time.
Yeah,
So I collected them and I dressed them. And they got clothes, handbags, shoes, jewelry. I haven't gotten them any wigs yet. This
yeah.
is it. And I dress them up and pose them and create sets for them or things like that and take the pictures and do it for my Instagram page. So I have an Instagram page specifically just for my
I've
doll
seen
photography.
them. They're so beautiful. I was like, oh my God, I want to ask you, are you selling them? It's where do you collect them
I
from?
probably should. I got them. Most of the time when I go to America, I had them some prior to coming while I coming here. So I when I my first trip, I didn't bring any. I missed them so bad because I
Yeah.
didn't have them. So when I went back my first visit, I was like, I'm bringing some of them, but it's like I if you ask me how many I have, I'm gonna tell you I really don't know. I have a lot.
Yeah.
Is all I can say. I don't want to put a number on it, so that case, when my husband ever asked me one day, how many dolls you got? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't count them.
How
It's
do you
not
store
important.
them? Do you have a, how do you organize them? Do you display them so you can
I
look at them?
right now I don't have a structured one. I have my own playroom,
Yeah. Oh my God.
so
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still in the design phase of the playroom. The walls are painted right now, but I needed to get a space where I have shelving where I can have them out on display. I want to build a dollhouse and I'll have sets so that I can create pictures and things in places that I haven't stored. Right now, I got little dustbin baskets that I put them in. I probably have about 8 of them. I don't have enough because I bought my almost my whole collection back last
Yeah.
year. I still got. I still be getting some more. So,
Oh gosh, I would love to see them. Anyway, they're so beautiful, Your Instagram is really, I was looking at all of them. There's so many I have never seen in my life. So yeah, they're very
so
beautiful.
I got a lot, and I don't even get the chance to get to all of them. So I'm like, this year I'm gonna focus on trying to get some of the ones that I don't photograph as much
Yeah,
and try to work with them to try and photograph them. Some of them I do like some changes to them because if I want to add lashes to them for their look to make them look more glamorous or something like that, to style their hair a certain way, or I'll
yeah,
make some clothes by hand for them that I want to put them in, and then sometimes I'll wrap scarves and things around them and I've taken pictures of one of my doll in my dryer and
yeah,
it was a beautiful thing. So it's like I have to think about things creatively. Creativity is something that I enjoy, and it gives me that outlet to be able to do it. Now I have the time to be creative, so that's what I like.
Exactly.
I like to write, be
Oh,
creative in writing. So I was like, I don't know if I might start blogging one day about my experience being in Nigeria, or uh, I don't
you
think I'm ready to
should.
do any YouTube channel like that just yet.
You
I'm
should.
a
I
little too
see.
private. I don't like for people to see me as much.
Yeah, that's okay. It's good to be private. I think you have a beautiful story to tell. Your story in Nigeria is really, really beautiful. And just, quickly for your dolls, did you think of making them like little African dresses with African Ankara fabric?
Yes,
Oh, it's so
girl. Look, every
beautiful.
time I go get a outfit made, I said I want you to keep my scraps.
Yes.
Don't keep my scraps. They
Yeah.
give me my scraps.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got stuff that I can make that stuff with. My husband be like, and he beforehand they don't understand it because you can't find dolls in Nigeria. I have to buy everything. I order them while I'm at home or from here from Amazon or something,
Yeah.
and then I had a friend that would keep them for me. And
Yeah.
so when I come, then she mails them to me where I am, and then I bring them back in my suitcase. So that's what I was doing before. So you can't find them here at all. It's not a big thing in Nigeria. Now Ghana, they got some places where you can, and other places like Namibia. I know a doll photographer in Namibia, and I think there's one in Tanzania too. South Africa, you can find a lot of. They have you can find barbers, but you can't really find them here. So it's just when I go, I get them and I bring them back. So I have to, if the new ones coming out and I want them, I order them and they'll stay, with my person until I come and then I can get them and bring them back with me.
That's so
So
cool.
that's why I have to wait for
Yeah,
when I travel back.
it's nice to have a hobby like that. We work hard. It come to a time where it's time to relax and do the thing that you couldn't do before, the thing that you
Yeah.
love doing. So enjoy, do, it's great. So I want to ask you three last questions and then I'll let you go because I'm conscious of the
Okay.
time and I don't want to keep you away from your husband too long. Um,
Oh,
so just quickly, like, why can you tell me what you love about Nigeria? If you have to say one thing that you love about Nigeria, or as many as you want.
it's
The
not.
first thing that come in mind.
When I think about it, sometimes I love that ladies can wear sequins during the day. It'd be
Ladies.
philosophical things, but ladies wear sequins during the day. So you'll see
Oh,
people in dresses and it has sequins, it's shiny. And it's like,
oh,
wow, they're wearing sequins. Because in America, you only gonna see people really in sequins at night because they're
yeah,
going out, but
yes,
they're tired. You love, I love when people say, hello, ma.
yes, yes.
I love
Oh,
when you're going places and you see a sea of black people doing things that I saw mostly non-black people doing in America. You have the ability to be able to do it.
yeah.
So it's that hearing a different language all the time.
Mm-hmm,
I love that I can be my authentic version of myself
mm-hmm.
here. Uh, of course, my husband and my family. I
Yes,
love that.
yeah.
Um, I love that my life was. I've been able to accomplish things here that would have taken me decades to accomplish in America.
Okay,
So it's like we just finished building our house last year. This past March, make a year we've been in our house. I love that I'm freer mentally, emotionally, spiritually,
wow.
physically, financially
Mm,
here.
yeah.
So that I get to live a Nigerian lifestyle because my husband is Nigerian. So and it's fine with me. Even if this wasn't my ancestral home, I would say I'm Nigerian because this is where I live. It's home to me.
Yeah,
So those are some of the few things that I love. I love when
well,
people blow their horn because they're telling you get out the way. I'm moving past. You moving past. I had to get used to people blowing the horn because I'd be like,
yeah,
why are you blowing at me? And I'm
yeah.
like, because you get offended in America, people blowing the horn at you. Like, what you blowing the horn at
In
me
the
for?
UK as well, you
But
can't.
here,
Yeah, yeah.
but here it's not. It's like, okay, two. I'm getting you pass between two large trucks, and you like two. I'm coming through so that you don't squish me in between. So
Yeah,
it's different reasons as to people why I have to get used to that blowing the horn that I don't I don't get offended by somebody blowing the horn at me or we blowing the horn. I'll be like, you blowing the horn too much, but that's what they have to do here. So just
yeah.
little nuances.
That's amazing. So, what is three things that you had to unlearn after moving to Nigeria?
One, I would say you will see men sometimes in their interacting with each other that they're able to embrace each other. You'll see a person like hold hands or something, and it's not sexual. I like that it's not sexualized here on the continent as it
Mm-hmm,
is in America. I
mm-hmm,
mean, of course, everybody involved in sexual activity type of things and stuff,
mm-hmm.
yes, but you're not going to see the moral and your standards are much different than they
Right.
are here. So I'd have to turn my mind off from that. When you see it, it'd be like, oh, okay, are those two? And I'd be like, no, that's not what it is. If they were, I mean, that's their business. I don't have a issue with that. But it's like you seeing it, and that's what you automatically are thinking. But it's not that way.
Yeah.
Um, that was one, and then having being comfortable with people being inside your personal space,
Yes. Yes.
because if you Lagos is very highly populated. So if you're
Mhm.
out and about, it's times that you walking past people gonna bump you, and
Mhm.
sometimes America, some place you bump you get offended like, oh, you can say excuse me or nothing, you just bump me, but you can't get offended here. You gonna get bumped, so I have to learn how to walk where I turn my body a certain way when I'm passing somebody that our shoulders gonna bump or something like that. So I had to get used to how I gotta walk about here in Nigeria because it's a lot of people when I'm out and I have to be with around a crowd. That was something I had to adapt to. And uh, some days, every day could be an adventure. You can wake up some days and the water's off
Yeah. Yeah.
at very inconvenient times.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but the water's off.
Mhm.
So you just be like, well, okay, or Nepa's gonna take the light in the middle of your show and it turns it off. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, dog, I was watching that. I wanted to know what happened. Good thing it's Netflix, so I could go back to it. If it was regular
Exactly.
television,
I,
you
I
just be
know.
like, well, you just missed that part.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, I knew it was going to happen when I came, but it's like adapted to America. You have the air conditioning on throughout the house all day long. You see what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
Here, we only really have the air on in the room that you're in,
Yeah.
and the rest is just fans. So I mean, that took some getting used to it. Not a long time. It's just like, okay, well, that's how we have to do it here. That's how we just do it. So I think I feel more awkward about it if I have an American guest that comes here and then you got to explain to them how this works. You're not gonna be able to sit back in your room with your air on all day
Yeah.
because
I
you
know.
NEPA's gonna take the light. We do have solar, but it's like you still can't just use electricity all willy nilly, even with solar, because if there's not a lot of sun out, then it's not going to charge the
The
solar
battery.
panels as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we'd have to wait for NEPA to bring the light, and they would charge the panels. So that's about the only thing. And it was just small things. It hasn't been anything really big that I had to really change my mindset from.
Perfect. Okay. What African Americans get wrong about Africa, or maybe what would you like African American to know about Africa? And to close maybe that bridge that is often because we need to get to know each other.
Don't be afraid of getting to know African people. You got to be cautious when you're talking to anybody online. You see what I mean? Whether
Mm,
they're in America or not, because you don't know what you really get and see until you really meet a person and you try to get to know them. But come to the continent. Some people always say they don't want to come. Somebody told me they didn't want to come here because they was afraid of wild animals. I'm like, there ain't no wild animals in Lagos. You see a lion out here, he gonna be in somebody's pot before the evening is over with. I don't
I
know what
know
you talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah, yeah.
But here, there's no wild animals out here running around in Lagos. I said, look, check. You need, if you are of the diaspora, I would say come to the continent. You may not have to necessarily come to Nigeria. Pick a country to go to on the continent to come to see, because most of us, our ancestors came from this continent some point in time. So to get to see what it's like, what the country is like, what the people's way of living is like. Um, Even if ladies who are involved with African men in America or the UK or Canada
Mhm.
or wherever, take an opportunity to come and visit your significant other for a month, for you to get an idea of his way of life and what he deals with on a day-to-day basis. because it's not going to be as easy for him to transition when he
Mhm.
goes to America or UK or wherever he's going to leave his
Yeah.
country and to adapt. Because you're thinking, oh, he got to be quick like that. It's not quick because it's like apples and oranges. They both fruit, but they're not the same fruit
Yeah.
at all. It's totally different. So
Yeah.
it could be a big culture shock for that person, the African, if they go into another country, and it could coming here for some people can be a huge culture shock too for things that they might be accustomed to. Me personally, my way of growing up when I was little, because I grew up a child in the '70s, teenager in the '80s and stuff. I remember having to wash my clothes in the bathtub because we didn't have wash and dryer and hanging them up on the line. Or when my
Mhm.
mom did have a wash machine, she washed it and we had to hang them on the line to dry. You see what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
done things like that. So
Yeah.
I tell people if you grew up in the '70s, you grew up low income or poor, uh, you can live here because some of the things that you do here, you've done
Yeah.
in your lifetime. You might have forgotten it, but you've done it before in your lifetime. So it's the continent is beautiful. There are, certain countries that might have different type of issues that might be going on, political strife, things that might be happening, like in the Congo and places like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But get to know the people. African people is a very wonderful people and beautiful people, inside and out. The way of life is different. They're friendly. Not everybody is trying to take advantage of you. I mean, people try to take advantage of you in your home country. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a big difference in that.
Yeah.
It's just taking the time to get to know people. Just come to visit, just to see what it's like. Even if it's just a visit, you see what you said. I've been to Africa, and you put that in your bucket list that you've done
Y-
before. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
don't don't discount it. If you black, it's good to come somewhere to see black people everywhere. That's
Wow.
part of your ancestry lineage,
Yeah.
regardless of what country that it is, just to see what it's like to experience it. Because it's a beautiful experience.
Wow. Wow, Denise, that's a very beautiful message. And I will push again and ask, what do you want African to know about African American? A lot of my community are African, and for me it's important to close that bridge, that separation that we often have between the Caribbean, the African American, etc. It's important that we get to know each other. What would you like African to know?
I think with the what we have been presented in the West on TV about the continent and what is being presented on the continent about African Americans isn't always the full picture. Some
Mm-hmm.
of it may be just a small portion of what people are like.
Okay.
So don't base everything on what you've seen on television.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't have Beyonce and Jay-Z money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, not everybody not everybody's gonna be the depiction of the hood girl that they may show on television or the hood guy on television. Not everybody's gonna kill you or
Mm-hmm.
try try to hurt you or harm you or cuss you out or something. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If they get
Yeah.
angry. Um, you got the African American community is very diverse
Mm-hmm.
because you have people from northern states that they have a whole different flavor to them. You got people
Okay.
from southern states that have a different flavor to them. You have people that are from the west coast. They have a different energy and flavor that they're bringing, and people from the Midwest. So depending on where you are, accents are going to be different. The way people pronounce words are going to be different. How people may be dressing and walk about will be different depending on where they are. So
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many other beautiful things that are a part of African American culture that does unite us all in spite of what states or side of the United States we're from.
Mm-hmm.
So take the time to get to know people personally to be genuine with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing, to be genuine, because you want to know more about them genuinely, not because you're trying to acquire something
Mm-hmm.
or you using this knowledge for whatever. Just to get to know a person, and
Mm-hmm.
it vice versa for American people or the diaspora, to get a chance to get to know African people. Not everybody's trying to take advantage of you. You see
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody, you can get taken advantage of in your own country.
absolutely. Wow.
So just
That
not allow what we are seeing presented in media about each other,
being the
um,
truth about us.
about what it is. Take the time
Yeah,
to research it yourself and see for yourself.
absolutely. And one on one, getting to know people personally, it's very important. And for me, I
Yes.
think, social media a lot because through, this platform, we're able to communicate. I'm able to get to know you, and I've learned to know a lot of African American that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, because in
Mhm.
Europe, I don't meet a lot of African American at all. You know, so it's a beautiful way to get to know each other. Denise, that was a
Yes.
very beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You're
You know,
welcome.
I know technology tried to, let us know.
Interfere.
Yes, but we managed to do it, and it was really a pleasure. Your kindness to just share, your experience in Nigeria, and I'm sure that a lot of people will learn a lot from you, through your experience. And it's important to hear somebody talk about Africa, you know, and you coming from the diaspora and your perspective of Africa. And I like that. I like the fact that I know I told you when before the interview that Africa is challenging. I
Yes.
know it is because I live in Cameroon, and even the 2 first year, I was depressed. Like I was depressed the 2 first years in Cameroon. It was difficult for me. I couldn't go back. Go back where? That was my husband's place. But but after 2 years, I got to learn, the ways and to appreciate the chaos that was necessary for the country because a lot need to be done. So people are very inventive,
Yes.
so you learn the ways, and once you embrace the culture, it's it's a beautiful way of living.
It is.
So
It's like
yeah.
the the only I think a challenge that I had was I lost some of my independence just slightly because I drive here. That's a whole different experience driving here.
Yes, I know
I
that.
got my life.
Yeah,
So, but and I'm learning my way. Like if when my husband takes me everywhere I need to go with driving, I drive locally. Put it in. I can drive locally. Like if I'm going to the supermarket or something like that, I drive really local. But it's like some of the things you do on the road here, you don't do that in Western
yeah,
countries at all. You gonna get a ticket. But
y-
I think that was it. Being able to be independent, to be able to just get up and go somewhere, by myself and do certain things that it's like because I don't know my way around, you know, and having to
yeah,
be on my own a lot to deal with Nigerian people. I adventured to do it where I just drive myself to the supermarket. So I always frequent the same places most of the time. So when people see me, they be like, "Hello, mom, longest time." They haven't
yeah.
seen me or something. It's like, "Your husband with you today?" I'm like, "No, girl. I can be here by myself today without somebody saying, 'You done yet?'"
Yes, I know.
No, I'm still
Yeah,
trying.
yeah. I wouldn't go shopping with my husband. It's too
But it's
stressful.
it's really wonderful, a
Yeah,
wonderful experience
that's amazing.
that I'm having.
I hope you're gonna be, in Nigeria for a while. I know that you may be traveling, to the US, but I do wish that I have a chance to come and visit Nigeria while you're there so we can meet. And you make me experience what your life in there because it sounds amazing. So,
Yes.
yeah. All right. So I think I'm gonna say we're gonna say
Just let me know.
goodbye. So I'll let you go back to your husband. And yeah, it was such a pleasure. So if you have anything else you want to add, please feel free uh, to do so.
I really appreciate the interview. I normally this is something that I really wouldn't do at all. It's like if people don't see this, this is crazy. But I do enjoy telling about my experience in Nigeria. I thought about a way of doing it myself, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
When you're
Social
ready,
media is crazy. Yeah, social media is iffy. It's a lie. They love you, and when they don't love you, woo, they
they
don't
don't
love you.
love you and you get nasty. I know it's not for everyone. When you're ready, maybe through
Yeah,
writing and blogging. Blogging is something that is less in your face. I see rarely people go attack on a blog, but it's true that social media online,
yeah,
it comes with the territory.
it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you. I feel privileged that you agreed to share your experience with my audience. And yeah, so I'm sure they're going to love you. And please leave a lot of beautiful comments. Say hi to Denise in the comment. And yeah, so you sold us Nigeria. We'll come and visit soon.
Thank
And
you.
say hi and thank you to your husband for, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Greet your
allowing us
husband for
to
me too.
keep you for a little while. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we in the WhatsApp together. Feel free. And I said something that if you ever want to come to Cameroon with your husband, when I'm there, you are more than welcome. Okay.
When you're in
It's
Nigeria, let us know.
yes, definitely. Oh yes, you'll see me there. You won't tell me twice. I'll be like, Denise, I'm actually in Lagos. Can we meet?
Yes, ma'am. We're like, okay, where you want to go?
Yeah. All right. Well, have a lovely evening, and we
You
on
too.
WhatsApp, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jess. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.